I'm an old
Thank
man
you.
and I want to, there are people who've always been interested in this. I say, look, let's talk about it. It's no big deal. I'll tell you what I was thinking.
Mr. McLean, what an absolute honor. Your song has touched me for most of my life. I'm 50 years old. Your song is 50 years old. I'm just wondering, you've told the story of the song many times, just as you perform the song many times. How has the telling of the story of the song changed over the last 5 decades?
Well, I never would talk about the lyrics before, so I spent a lot of time not talking about it, which is really kind of ironic. But in the movie that we've done, I decided to take the guitar and start from the top and kind of give people an idea of what I was thinking. Again, it's a jumbled thing of multiple meanings of things. And I did this for myself. It was like a collage of some sort, or an impressionistic painting or something, or a dream even also. It's really hard for people to hear me go on like this because there's no clear path to an answer, which I think, people would want.
Well, if I may interrupt, one of the things that's remarkable, there's another film about Hallelujah, about Leonard Cohen, about how songs get taken away in a funny way once the public actually gets a hold of them. And in many ways, American Pie became this thing well beyond you writing it in your room with a guitar and strumming and doing that deed turnaround that everybody who first learns to play guitar does. All these melodic elements. If you could just talk specifically about that, about maybe frustration and joy of the song being bigger than Don McLean.
Well, I write songs all at once, so I don't sit down and write a melody, at the piano or something like maybe Paul McCartney might do, and then put a poem to it. Or I don't know how he writes, but I had quite a lot of an insight actually by watching that 9 hours of those boys hacking away at the things they had to do with that time schedule to make that album. And it was quite unusual. But I sing the song right out. So if I have a wonderful baby, it's a wonderful baby living on love. I have it right there. It comes into my head. And then maybe I'll do 3/4 of the song. And then I'll say, well, now I'll back off. And I'll say, well, I want to do that again now with the second verse. So now I'll put it aside and I'll write the second verse, knowing it's going to be to that melody. So, and then where else do I go? Well, I got a bridge, you wonderful baby, I'll watch while you grow. Gotta have a bridge, Songs are all structured. A lot of popular music, I'm digressing a minute, but I will explain this to you, are 2 verses, a bridge, and a verse, which is exactly how Vincent is written. It's just like an old-fashioned popular song. American Pie was a combo of things because it just turned out that way. I started with that long piece, and I knew that I had this Buddy Holly thing that I had in my heart, really. I had it, I had it on in the little tape recorder. I played it back again. I said, oh, that was dramatic. I thought it was very dramatic and very exact. Then I said, well, what do I do now? I could have done it again. I could have said, long, long time ago, the day the music died. And a long, long time ago, I could have done it again, starting with a long, long time ago, and told a different part of the story. See, so I could have gone that way. But I said, no, I didn't want that. I wanted a rock and roll chorus, and I wanted a hard driving song. And so I came up with this crazy chorus and came up with this title, American Pie. And when I saw that, I really was excited because, it's got to look good in print, the title, and American Pie looks good in print.
One of the things the film does a really good job about, I think, is actually connecting you to the early folk scene, but particularly your work with Pete Seeger. I think that's been really underreported. And I was really pleased to see that, and your connection with Woody Guthrie, your ambivalent connection to Bob Dylan.
I don't have any ambivalent connection to Bob Dylan. I'm a tremendous admirer of Bob Dylan. I respect him
and yet
enormously.
People have read your song in ways that are that it's ultra conservative, that it talks about pickup trucks, that the day the music died is when the good music stopped happening and the bad music, the music of the Beatles and the music of Dylan took over. You are well aware of this reading, that it's an ultra conservative. It's the equivalent of Make America Great Again, the song, for some people.
No, that's not. I mean,
And
you don't make America, not when you're hanging out for 7 years with Pete Seeger.
100%. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I mean about your song being taken away from. Springsteen's song, Born in the USA, gets taken over by Republicans, misunderstanding that it's an anti-Vietnam song. You have this song that incorporates La Bamba chords, brings attention to this rock tragedy, but allows us to investigate through the poetry our own meanings. The danger of that is it gets interpreted in ways that are probably antithetical to your own views. How do you respond as an artist to your own song being taken away from you?
I don't care.
Perfect.
Doesn't bother me. I did it. I know what I meant to do. It's out there. People, as long as some criminal element isn't using the song, or I got pretty annoyed when they used it to torture people. I don't know if you know about that, but the sleep deprivation, when I didn't like that, and I complained, I don't know what we did, but we raised hell about that. I don't like any of that stuff, but anybody can think whatever they want. But the interesting thing is that the nice part about this movie is finally they could see that I'm a regular guy. I'm not left, I'm not right, but I do have opinions about stuff and I observe things. And that's all. I put those observations out and went over the song, as I said. And I got surprised in a way because I realized that there was a really perfect circularity to it, which is totally subconscious. In the beginning, I want to find the music. And at the end, I asked the girl who sings the blues to sing me, when they said the music isn't playing. So it's like I started in New Rochelle at the House of Music and I went back at the end, and so I thought, wow, that was interesting. And then I remembered this Rosianna song that we used to sing when we were all pretending to be sailors. And it was a wonderful song. And it had this bye-bye chorus. So I said, that's that damn bye-bye idea, I think, got in my head because of that. So that's in the movie also. But I just figured that out while we were talking.
I want to talk about one thing that's briefly in the movie, which is the Madonna cover. I know she's definitely ambivalent about it. I think it's a remarkable rereading of it. William Orbit's production, I think, is fantastic. But I want to talk about the Brady Bunch version, the version that actually eschews everything, starts with Helter Skelter in the year of Manson, and adds those crazy horns to it. Do you remember the first time you heard basically the plasticine child singer friendly version of your ode to the greatness of music? And here
I've never heard it. I thought it has to be so bad that I just don't want to hear it. And so I just didn't
amazing.
Hear it.
If you get one thing out of this interview, go listen to it on YouTube and just be amazed.
No, well, let me tell you.
Sometimes America does this.
Yes, it does it a lot. I stay away from things that annoy me because I'm annoyed enough about things that I have to deal with, rather than to stick my nose into something and say, "Oh, wow, that's stupid," or something like that. Again, there was a cool Groove Holmes guy who was a bass player, jazz cat. He did an instrumental version of American Pie. Very few versions of the song have been done. The most complete one was the home free one with the a cappella kids from Nashville who did the whole song. And we ended up with the video being the #1 video for 8 weeks on a country video charts. And that was a complete surprise. So they did that, pretty amazing. They've been around forever. You have to commit to doing something like this, to be in a group like this. This is not something you just throw off, it's a commitment. So they're nice kids. I like them.
I was going to say, I could talk to you forever. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but as a last question, as a kid, I was fascinated by the lyrics. And as an adult, as somebody played a little bit, it was actually the musicality that really drew me in, particularly Paul Griffin. I'm really happy this film spends time giving him his due. That piano part is so remarkable. But if you could talk about the story of the production of that,
Oh yeah.
because it was so tense with the producer. You had
Mhm.
different ideas every time you performed it live. You do the melismatic jumps,
Yeah.
octave jumps, but on the original albums kept clean.
Mhm.
It might not have been the hit it was
Mhm.
if the producer hadn't got his way, but in a funny way,
Yeah.
you got your way retroactively. Your
Yeah.
memories of Paul Griffin, maybe not in the movie. Your response, I didn't hear about Madonna, and just in terms of playing it, what it feels like these days,
Well,
50 years later.
again, Madonna. I call American Pie Donnie's Comet because every few years it comes back. It's coming back now bigger than ever right now. So this is what happens. It has many years it'll be away and it'll come back. It's coming back now. When Madonna did that song, she brought the comet back. Everybody was aware of it. It was the song of the century, and she put her brand on that. And she doesn't sing other people's music. I think she said somewhere she used to sing it in summer camp. So she made this, very famous video that everybody still sees. It's one of her most famous videos, and she moved on. It was a momentary thing. She got eviscerated for her performance in that movie, The Next Best Thing, which I felt terrible about because I began to realize how much hatred there is for this woman out there. And I was very empathetic to that. And then that was that. And as far as the making of the record goes, I had everything in my head. I knew how this was supposed to be. Now, it's funny because Ed says in the movie that I wasn't accustomed to playing with other instruments. I had made a whole album called Tapestry with groups by myself,
the first
string
Tapestry,
arrangements.
not Carole King. Carole King copied you, for the record.
Yeah, you're right. But see, I was well aware of all this instrumentation that I wanted. I knew what I wanted.
Mhm.
But the thing about it is that Ed is really not a rock guy. He's more of a Gregorian chant person. He likes church music. And that's why his version of Vincent, I think, is, and many of the slower songs on the record are the most beautiful things that he did. But he came through and he produced, it was just not going right. And I had all these musicians in there and they were great guys. But after about 2 weeks of me saying, no, that's not right, no, and not being able to communicate what I was trying to say to them, they started to get annoyed with me. Who do I think I am? Well, I'm Don McLean, and this is my song, and I know how it's supposed to sound. That's who I am. And I held my ground all the time. And then I didn't know what was going to happen. So we came to the day to do, it's just like in the movie, came to the time to record the song. In comes this guy, Paul Griffin, who I've never heard of. Okay, I don't care. Let's see what happens, right? This is it. So we're going to see. He sits down and again, Ed said he didn't want me to play the guitar. Well, it's my acoustic guitar is what saved that song because I'm pounding away and that's how I play. I even Garth mentions it. My guitar is a big guitar and I can rock a stadium if I'm loud enough with that guitar. I've done it many times. He gets it in his earphones. Boom, he starts going. Everybody starts understanding he's a groove a mile wide. You can't miss this. But it came from the guitar. So you see, we each missed the boat in some ways and then made up for it, and it all happened. It was quite a miracle, really. And then it was too long, and then the record company went out of business, and then, all these kinds of things. But once United Artists got hold of this song, they knew what they would cut it right down to 3 minutes, and it went to #1 in 2 seconds. So then all the FM people, you were talking about your radio voice, those people who had been listening to my Tapestry album, who loved it, they were listening to the American Pie album and they called the station. And they said, this ain't the record. You know, you got to play the real thing. So they shamed the top 40 into playing the 8.5-minute version, which then became #1. So even that's a long story.
It's a long song. We're going to have long stories. I could keep you forever. Thank you for the song. Thank you for speaking about it so eloquently. I genuinely feel that this is the time that you have talked about this song in a way which is more open and more honest than you have
Well, I'm an old
ever before, and
man,
I
you
really
know,
appreciate that.
I'm an old
Thank
man
you.
and I want to, there are people who've always been interested in this. I said, look, let's talk about it. It's no big deal. You know, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I loved your questions. I love the fact that you're probing and that you're irreverent and that you say whatever. I like that very much, and keep up the good work. And I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much. Apparently I have 1 more minute, so I'm going to ask it.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Weird Al
sure.
version, again, we talk about the different versions. Was there any part of you that was excited about this kind of reinterpretation, or was it just something that happened? Was it not even on your radar when you did it? Because in a funny way, the Weird Al one let me realize the instrumentation. His beautiful music, like his band is so tight that it made me listen to your song closer on an instrumental basis.
He played that instrumental version that he had was better than the record.
Yeah, it's
It was
great.
unbelievable. And I couldn't get over it, you know. And then he did his thing, and I thought that was terrific. And then we got to be friends, you know. I've known him now. He's a wonderful person. He's a very regular guy, you know, and he's just a nut, you know, and loves to do his thing. And I am too. I'm pretty regular in most ways. I'm, you know, I try to take care of myself and my friends and everybody, and I, you know, I care about my music, and I don't do things that I don't like to do, and I don't say things I don't believe.
And you're not precious about American Pie. You recognize what it is, but you do not feel a sense of needing to control its legacy.
No, no, you can't do that with any kind of creative work. You know, you never know what's going to happen, and it's fun and fascinating, you know, to see what kind of a history, you know, something that I was lucky enough to create, and then see what kind of history it's had. It's had a long history of a lot of things happening to it.
Thank you, sir. Every single time I do that D turnaround, the D sus for D sus 2D, it's patience in Guns N' Roses, every song, but it all comes back to that's the
You got
American
to
Pie
have the
turnaround.
music. The music has got to be in your head. You can't create it on paper. You've got to have it come out of your mouth. It's got to look at McCartney and that thing, sing the long and winding road, or it just comes out of him.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you do
Well,
it. That's why he is who he is. That's why I am who I am, because we have this ability and to just make it come out. And there it is, you know, right in the room.
I don't want this to be the day the interviewer died, so I should let you go, sir. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, enjoy the
Thank
show,
you.
and thank you for celebrating the song with me.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you.